do not track my calories or my macros on a daily basis. I just find it to be super tedious, and nobody really wants to track their calories on a daily basis. It can mess with your head if you're constantly just like looking at the numbers of things. And for me, I personally don't find it to be as necessary to do so, because I've been eating this way, whole foods, plant-based, for 5 years now, and I kind of have got myself into a rhythm where I'm eating pretty much the same kind of portions, or I just know how much I'm eating on a daily basis. If I have a smaller breakfast like fruit or something, I know that I'll probably want to come home after the gym and have something a little bit extra. So I don't need to kind of like plan things out or really like focus on the numbers too much. I just kind of know how much is enough. And for me personally, I found between 2,300 to even 2,800 is kind of like my range that I eat for calories every day. Usually it's between 25 to 2,700. And usually on the days that I'm working out, I'm a lot more ravenous because, of course, I've burned calories working out. But even on rest days, there's days that I'm resting and I'm super hungry, and I listen to my body. That's another thing that I do, is I really listen to my body and my hunger cues. And if I'm hungry, I'll eat, even if it's a rest day and I didn't go out and burn a bunch of calories. It's really important to just listen to your body and your hunger cues. And eating whole foods, plant-based, it's really easy to do that because you're nourishing yourself with really...
You know, one of the best things about these well-known influencers who are quitting veganism, and, you know, every vegan will have their current list of excuses and reasonings for how they did it wrong. But one of the great things is we can go and look. They have social media, they have YouTube channels, they have tons of what I ate in a days. So even if they're not showing you the macros, like listing it all on Chronometer, and look, on paper, once again, on paper, everything looks well. She is telling you 1 year ago that she was getting everything she needed. She's giving you a complete list by list what she was doing. So for someone like Vegan Gains to sit there and need studies to show and prove everything about anything, and then can just flippantly be like, she wasn't eating enough, look at her, she's skinny, she was over exercising, bam, that's it, figured it out. Where's your studies, Richard? Which the equivalent of that would be looking at what she was actually eating, how much she was actually working out. So let's look. Okay, she said she ate somewhere close to 3,000 calories a day. She's very active, that is why. And even on her active days, which she said she worked out, about 5 days a week, she said she was going home and drinking those protein powders after her workout. So she was getting extra calories on those days. Okay, what else did she say? That the first few years she ate 80-10-10 mostly, but found quickly that that wasn't going to work. Okay, so she went into more of a balanced vegan diet, the best kind, right? Hey Swayze, where are you? Isn't this the best way to eat as a vegan? Look at her. She's hitting everything. What more do you want? She was taking all of her supplements. She was even taking algae. There's people in the comment section on her Instagram saying, girl, don't you know fish get their DHA from algae? Girl, don't you know I was taking algae for years and it was doing nothing to help me? And now that she's finally getting some relief, she was taking morphine, a narcotic, a narcotic for period pain. And Vegan Gains is over there talking about amenorrhea. She didn't lose her period yet. I mean, she was probably close to it. She was probably close to it, Richard. But she didn't yet. So he's trying to act like, oh, she wasn't eating enough fat, you know. Yeah, she was just under eating. She was trying to starve herself. She was chasing those abs. For someone like Maddie, it didn't take much. All she needed to do was eat, typically healthy, quote unquote, just whole foods in general. whether that's coming from animal-based foods or not, she has a body type and the genetics to just be able to work out a few times a week and have a really lean body. She has low estrogen, she's talked about this. Genetically, that's an issue. So I think women like that have a lot easier time. I have a sister who, she always had a super flat stomach no matter what she ate. And she had lower estrogen. She had more testosterone. And you can see it in other features. It's like, it's less feminine. There's less of that softness to them. So, yeah, people like that who are predisposed to being leaner, it doesn't take much hard work for them. You know what? I think the only vegan, at least on YouTube, that is at least rational and honest enough, or wants to appear that way enough, and this is Swayze, the Unnatural Vegan. So if she responds to this, I'm pretty sure she will be one of the only ones to go and look at what Maddie was eating, to look at these videos and discuss this. Tell us where she went wrong. She will probably end up saying, oh, she worked out too much. She was burning all of this energy. She was burning all of these calories. And that's another thing. Why is it so hard to eat exclusively plants when you're eating enough calories? And that's supposed to be enough. Why is it so easy to burn all that? Is it because most of it is just going straight through you and you're not actually absorbing it as Chronometer says? Is that it? Because someone can eat the same amount of calories, and as long as they're drinking milk and eating eggs and eating some meat, they'll look and feel great. So why is it that we can eat the same calories as long as it's animal based? We can be that lean, look that fit, but still not be losing our periods, still not be, at death's doorstep, taking morphine for pain, acne and hormone issues galore. She had digestive issues. So why is this? And I'm not saying, definitely that's not the healthiest option as a woman to go that lean. We need some fat on us. And I would love to see a little more fat on Maddie. And we probably will see that soon enough. But why is it that a meat eater can be that lean and still be mostly healthy? Why is that? Is it because they're actually nourished? That most of their calories are not just being shit out the other end. And I'm sorry, but isn't that what's happening? Isn't that it? Why can't y'all admit to this? Why can't y'all admit that as a vegan, she should have been eating like 4,000, 5,000 calories? Well, at least the high carbers will admit this. At least Natasha and them will admit it, because they acknowledge she should have been pounding down the refined sugar, right? She should have been upping those calories, right? So just admit that. Just admit that you have to double down on plant-based foods because you're not absorbing half of it. And of course, that still won't be enough for most people. And I'm not even saying all people. I'm willing to admit there may be people out there that I have just not ran across yet that aren't on social media and YouTube that are thriving or at least doing okay. I would not say that's the people we have to observe. The little twins, Nina and Randa, and Vegan Zombie, and all of these other long-term vegans. They're not particularly healthy. So I would not say those are good examples. But I'm willing to admit that somewhere out there, there's people that can do better. At least better. Because it does seem to be the case that some people deteriorate, far quicker. That's obvious. Some people, for whatever reason, they can't convert as well. Some people can convert a little better, absorb, convert, whatever you want to call it, all these factors. And when eggs and fish or any kind of meat can so quickly nourish someone. And that's what's happening here. I know this is so hard for y'all to acknowledge. I know it. But that's what's happening. She's become nourished in a very quick amount of time on bioavailable, nutrient-dense food that she wasn't getting in her diet before. That is so hard for them to admit. But it's true. I mean, you have to acknowledge this. These foods the nutrients are already there, ready to absorb. You don't have to convert them. And you acknowledge they stay in that digestive tract longer. So what's the problem here? Why are y'all so ideologically possessed that y'all can't acknowledge this? And you have to act like people are just lying, just absolutely lying about how great they feel. So for any more vegans who want to come out and debunk her, or any ex-vegan, have enough honesty to look at what she was actually eating, how much she was actually working out, to look at these things, to observe it as unbiased as possible. Okay? And for all of you saying, oh, this is, we're worried about people being influenced, No, let's be clear about who these videos are for. This is for the Church of Veganism. This is to boost your morale, because you have to keep the faith to be a vegan. You admit it. It's not about health. You have to keep the faith. So these videos are for each other. I want to add one more thing for anyone who doesn't understand what a woman's cycle actually is. Every month you produce an egg. If that egg is not fertilized, it leaves the body. But meanwhile, your uterus is getting ready in case that egg does get fertilized. It is putting all sorts of nutrients in that lining so that when the egg does attach and start to turn into an embryo and a fetus and a baby, it will have every nutrient it needs to, grow into that. Brain, bones, body, tissue, everything. So when you bleed out after the egg is not fertilized, and this may sound disgusting to some people, but seriously, this is all the nutrients coming out. It is like an egg that you eat, a chicken egg that you eat. It has everything in it. It's a full package. So without knowing much else about biology and nutrition, you could then logically conclude that if things are not going right in the body, if you are not being nourished and you are missing a bunch of nutrients, if your hormones are out of whack, she probably had very low cholesterol. The fat is what immediately healed her, or, is healing her. For the most part, I'll say that. When you don't have all of these things, clearly, this part of the process, like the baby making process, whether it's the egg or the lining, that is obviously going to get screwed up. So I know that being underweight makes a woman lose their period. Apparently the body understands you are not ready to carry and grow a baby. You don't have enough of what that baby needs. So don't y'all see that this is very common for vegans, and you can say it's because they're skinny all you want, but hormone issues, baby making issues, infertility. It is the ultimate anti-human diet. It will ensure in more ways than you can count that reproduction does not happen, whether that's sterilization on your own terms because you're just so low in functioning hormones that you can't think straight, or whether that's amenorrhea or hormone issues again, or, so, and I know there are vegans with kids. I know this before you jump in the comments and tell me this, but look around. Look around. It is so crazy common to see these issues with the cycle with these women. Maddie is young, and God bless her. I hope she has a family one day, because she would not have been able to do this had she stayed on this diet and kept the faith and kept trying for more years and more years, because it's never enough. It's never enough. And no matter if she would have stopped at 20 years and said, hey, I was trying like for 15 years or so plus, they will say, why was your first thought to just eat some eggs? Just remember this, vegans. Just remember, all of you talking about how you feel so loved and seen and heard. Remember how fast they will all drop you over an egg, an unfertilized egg that could have been found sitting in the yard somewhere that will rot. They will drop you because this is faith. This is religion. You cannot be a part of this cult if you leave. And you cannot leave only through death. Will you ever be acknowledged as a vegan once you do leave? You do not have friends. They are not your friends. They will drop you if you choose to live, if you choose your health. They say it right there in the comments. They care more about a fish and an egg than you doubled over in pain taking morphine. They care more about that little fish. It is incredible that they can't hear themselves. So that's all I got to say. This ended up way too long. Y'all have a good day.